Welcome to Living a Healthy, Vibrant Life podcast. I'm your host, Harold Chatman. At the current moment, we're not taking any sponsors, but if you wish to support me, visit our website, hvlworld.net. We have the best flavor collagen. We have unflavored, peach mango, and our newest flavor, strawberry lemonade. If you struggle with skin elasticity, if you need a new supplement routine, or if you just need a better collagen product, check us out. And we're also at the Panoramic Brand Studio, best podcast studio in Houston. All right, we have a special guest with us today. He is a professional soccer player, 3-year pro, graduate from Wake Forest, and also played 4 years. Drafted in the second round of 2021. Welcome, Andrew Pannenberg.
How's it going, Harold? Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, man. Finally got me a professional here.
Yes, sir.
I thought I was going to be like a professional basketball player or a football player, but I got a soccer first. There we go, man.
Take what you can get.
Hey, man, I ain't complaining. I ain't complaining, especially I appreciate Chris Slocum for the connect, man. I appreciate you, man. But, yeah, man, how you feeling today?
Yeah, doing great. How are you?
Pretty good, man. So what would you – so let's just get right into it. So what made you choose soccer out of everything, like when you were like a young boy? Like, how did you get into like soccer out of – did you ever play any other sports?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up, just like a lot of kids, I played all kinds of like basketball, flag football, like t-ball. But I played soccer. And, the thing that really separated soccer for me was, I played all these sports and I was actually a field player with soccer. And I was like a striker. I loved scoring goals. Mm-hmm. And at one point, the coaches had told my parents, like, hey, you should probably go. I played for like a YMCA, like a rec team. And they told my parents, like, you should probably go take him to try out for like a travel team. And so I went to the tryouts. And when I got there, they needed a goalie to play. And I had never played like goalie before, but I just like volunteered myself. And man, I just fell in love. And ever since I was like 8 years old, and I've been playing goalkeeper ever since. And I just fell so in love with not only the sport but the position, and that just kind of became my main focus, like just out of all the sports.
You say you were playing striker first? Yeah,
like in my like YMCA rec league, man. I loved to score goals at that time.
So what made you transition into like goalie? Like, because you did try goalie out, but you actually stuck with it.
Yeah.
So what made you stick with it?
Yeah, man. I think when I started playing, so I made a team, and then we had like our very first tournament like the next weekend. And, I've always been a really competitive guy. And I realized in that tournament, man, we had like a really good tournament. We came in like second. And I realized that I get frustrated because as like a striker, I could score like 3 or 4 goals, but my team would lose like 5-4. But as a goalie, I knew that if I showed up and prepared well and had a good game, and I realized like in that first tournament, we could like never lose. We could tie like 0-0, but I felt like I had more like control and more like impact on the game being a goalie. And I feel like I've always been like a pretty unique guy. And I remember just in that first tournament too, man, they gave me my own different colored jersey and my own like 2 little gloves. And I remember like putting them on and just feeling like a little like superhero or something.
Oh, man.
Just like way different from the rest of my team. And I've also just always loved like just jumping and like running around and diving. And I feel like, goalkeeper is just like a whole new like position. Like it's almost like you combine soccer and like being a wide receiver. And
right.
So, man, it's always just been since that moment something I've just like really loved and enjoyed.
Man, when I think about like a goalie, because I was looking at some of your clips, a couple of times you got close to being kicked in the face.
Oh, yeah, there's been more than multiple times getting kicked in the face.
Right, especially those soccer cleats, you got to remember everybody got some strong legs.
Yeah, man.
And like that, I don't know if I can do that goalie.
Yeah.
I know, is that like kind of fear in the back of your mind? Like when you see the goal coming, you see somebody coming to kick and you want to like grab the ball, you're like, oh shit, he about to kick me.
Yeah, I feel like there's always kind of that like human instinct that like you want to kind of back away from it, but I think the instinct to win and to like save it sometimes just overrides that.
You're
and
like, fuck it.
Yeah, and you've just done it so many times. Yeah, I've just like been shot on so many times that like I feel like that kind of like fear goes away like as you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So where you from, man?
I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina. So what made you choose Wake Forest out of. I'm guessing you're pretty good in high school.
Yeah, I was decent. Yeah. No, I was looking at some other schools, and it's funny, kind of a little story, a little backstory. But so when I was on that like very first team, there was a kid on my team, and his dad actually went to Wake, and they were telling me and my dad like all season long, hey, you got to come with us to a Wake Forest soccer game, and I didn't even know what Wake Forest was at the time.
Right.
And finally, after like one of our morning games, we decided to go up with them. And so it's like an hour and a half north of Charlotte. So made the drive up. We go to the game. And, I'd really experienced the atmosphere at Wake for the first time. There's like always been a really good following, like a couple thousand fans show up. Really nice, like unique stadium. A lot of support, a lot of energy in the stadium. And they were also, that was like 2007. And that was actually the year they won the national championship, the only national championship the program has ever won.
Dang.
So, so we went to the first game, and man, I just like fell in love. And my dad and I kind of kept going up to games just like throughout that fall. And I remember actually like I was in my like TV room, and my dad was on like a business trip, and they were playing in the national championship 2007 against Ohio State, and they ended up winning 2-1. And I remember like being on the phone with them, and I was just like, Dad, they won, like freaking out because we were both like big fans. And I also had the like their star player. He won like the it's called the Herman Trophy. It's like the Heisman for soccer, for college soccer. I had his jersey, and I literally wore that like all fall long, just like everywhere I went. And so yeah, man, I fell in love with it. But kind of as I got older, we kind of like stopped following. But once I got into high school, I had a game, and I did pretty well. And my coach had told me that the Wake Forest coach at the time was actually at the game, and he was like, yeah, he wants you to give him a call. And so like I gave him a call that day and spoke to him for the first time. And I remember getting off the phone with him. I was like, yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. And they had me come on a visit. And so I went on campus for the first time since I was like 8 years old. And all those feelings came back watching like a preseason game. And yeah, I'd gone on visits to other schools, but I just knew, man, like that was going to be the place for me. And like my next visit, they ended up giving me an offer, and I ended up committing my junior year. So yeah, man, it was, I played 4 years there, and it was just a dream come true for that little 8-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's pretty amazing, like knowing like you follow that school since you were 8 and then able to get a visit on campus and connect. So what made you choose that school?
Yeah, I mean, I think so the ACC, the conference they're in, is like arguably the best conference in college soccer, and it's kind of been that way for years now. So I feel like for me, in high school, I knew that I wanted to play at the highest level, especially in college, and it's a very competitive conference. So I knew I wanted to be a part of that, and also kind of fulfilling that childhood dream was part of it. It's a very good academic school, and academics have always been pretty important to me. It was also pretty important as well that being close to my family. So it's only like an hour and a half north of Charlotte. So weekend games, my parents were always able to come out, which I was actually like one of 2 guys from North Carolina on the team. So we had guys from California, New York. I mean, yeah. So, and their families would come maybe once a year, and my parents could come, every single weekend. So that was pretty special for me, just to be able to have them in the stands and
support.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So what would you say the transition from I would say like going from high school to college, like what was did you feel like a shift?
Yeah.
Like from the talent level?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so I grew up playing for they called it like an academy in Charlotte. There's like academy teams all across the country. So at the time that was like the highest level for soccer, but the team that we had, it wasn't like the highest level was like an MLS academy. So having the professional team and then having like their younger academy players, like we didn't have a pro team, if that makes sense. We just had our academy team. So Wake at the time, being a high level program, they would recruit a lot of these like MLS academy kids. So while I was playing at a high level, it wasn't like the highest level. And so coming into college, most of my recruiting class was like all MLS academy kids.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, and just even the guys who were there before me were all like, big time guys kind of from all around the country, even like internationally. So no, it definitely was a wake up for me, especially my first couple weeks, just kind of getting used to the pace. And I graduated early from high school. So I graduated in like December and got there in January. Okay. And so I was also the only one in my class to do that too. So they had actually that fall come off of, they lost in the national championship. So they had made it, all that way. Guys had built relationships, the team had gotten really close, and I'm coming in just like in January by myself, like group of guys around me. So yeah, it was definitely a learning curve on the field, off the field, and just kind of like getting used to the team and everything. But it definitely was a really good, growing experience for me.
Especially for the culture, like going from, high school to college is always some challenging, because you got to be more responsible now.
Yeah.
And you had to keep yourself in shape. Yeah. And, you went there for soccer, but it's just a lot that comes along with it, like being a college athlete.
Yeah. Yeah, I was learning how to do my laundry for the first time.
Yeah.
As a freshman.
Learn how to, and also, like, gotta get your ass up for class.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure y'all probably have, like, meetings.
Yep.
Probably, like, film, right?
Yeah.
And you be tired. And then at the same time, you gotta go back home and do some homework.
Yep.
And then you might have, like, morning workouts or something like that.
Yeah, man. Don't stop. But, I mean, and it teaches good, like, time management skills.
And
like
discipline.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. No, I feel like in the time, it seemed like a lot, and it was pretty, like, overwhelming, but you look back and you're like, that definitely built a lot of good skills in me, a lot of being able to manage time and all that. So.
Oh, man. I always recommend everybody that's, like, if you high school to middle school, I always recommend everybody to play a sport.
Yeah.
Because it teaches something that your parents can't teach you.
100%.
So, I didn't realize how disciplined and consistent and hard work and that I was, but I realized when I look at it, I've been doing it ever since I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
You've been playing, especially been playing like soccer like yourself.
Yeah.
You see what's the word for it? You always you got to go to practice, playing games. You got to be competitive. It teaches you about losing. It teaches you about like, damn, this team was really good. You learn from adversity. And your parents, they can't teach you that. They only just your parents. They teach you certain skills, but they can't teach you how to deal with adversity, like, because you actually going through it. They just support you with it. But going through that year after year, it teaches you those traits that we didn't realize that we were developing. And you're like, dang. Then you realize why some people that never played sports, while working out is hard for them, why healthy lifestyle is hard for them, while just going through things because they probably had things all given to them, and it makes just life a little challenging.
Yeah. Yeah, no, man. Sports are beautiful. I feel like, you also learn those skills through something that you love too. So it almost makes all of that easier, which is not the point to be easy, but you're starting to learn, discipline, commitment, relationships with people, like all through something that you love. So, yeah, man, I think everyone needs to play sports.
I even have my 2-year-old. I have her like doing little small workouts with me because I want her. Because I look at like professional athletes, like when I look at like LeBron James, I look at any professional player that has like younger kids, and people always wonder why they so good. Well, not just because they have a professional player that's a mom or a dad, it's because they start them early. Where you starting your kid off like at 7 or 9, they've been starting their kids off like 3 or 4.
Yeah, man. That's true.
When you think about it, when you look at it, but that's why I always push like sports and soccer. So how did it go? Like when you played like 4 years, so what was the transition that you possibly could go pro? Like when did that like set in, like starting your freshman year?
Yeah, man, my college journey was definitely interesting. I played one game my freshman year. I didn't play any my sophomore year. I had redshirted, and then junior year for me was like a breakout year, and I played like every single game, and we ended up going to the Final Four for NCAA, and I was like third team for ACC All Conference. And, yeah, man, I had a big breakout year. Senior year was actually, like, COVID that fall. We had, like, so ACC, like, everyone else canceled, but we had, like, a modified kind of 10-game season in the fall. Yeah. But, no, man, I feel like once I started playing and being the starter and kind of getting some recognition and, doing well in the field, I could start to see potential, like, pro opportunities and making connections with people. And especially after that senior year fall, like, people reaching out to me and just kind of seeing, that there were potential places that were interested in me. And there's a draft for soccer, for college soccer into MLS. And So that following January, after that fall, I was drafted in the second round to Orlando City in MLS. But yeah, it all kind of came after that fall, just kind of seeing that people were interested, and I was definitely interested in going pro. So, yeah.
Did you have to get like an agent of anything like that?
Yeah, I did. That's a whole nother story of just kind of like learning curve of, I feel like,
because you don't know.
Yeah.
You just get thrown in like, oh, I'm drafted. Then you go through like, it's just so much that you don't know.
Yeah.
And like trial and error.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like the biggest things that I've learned as a professional have been just through trial and error. Just kind of.
It's kind of like life.
Yeah.
I just like, you don't know, like, how old are you now?
25.
25. Like, you don't know what 28 gonna look like for you.
No idea. Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
But when you get there, it's like trial and error, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it is some of the best ways to learn, but just actually going out there and doing it. But no, I mean, I've definitely learned a lot of lessons since then, and especially about being a pro. But part of me wishes like there was some kind of course or something that, like, as a senior in college, like, hey, this is all the things you need to know and be prepared for as a pro. But
I feel like now they do.
Yeah. I mean,
Now
I didn't see them when I was graduating.
I don't think nobody did.
Yeah.
But now they do because college players are getting those UIL deals.
Yeah.
So they're getting like agents. They getting endorsement deals, and some players making more money staying in that sport for 4 years rather than going pro.
Yeah.
That goes all across the board.
Yeah. Now,
Unless it's baseball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, man. No, it's important. Like, I feel like when you play in high school and even college, like, all you see is the game and just like trying to focus on the game. And you hear some athletes that talk about like, man, I just want to focus on the sport. Like, I don't want to focus on all these other things. But it's like, you got to realize there's a game outside of the game that you got to be able to take care of. And it's like, if you can't take care of that, then you're not going to have the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do what you love unless you're willing to take care of all the off-field, trying to get yourself in a good situation, get in the right organization, be able to work with an agent, figure out, how to structure a contract, or even some of these things. It's like, it's just funny when I hear some athletes say like, oh man, I don't want to have to worry about that. I just want to play the game. It's like, man, it's not gonna happen if you can't take care of the other stuff.
Yeah.
So
especially your contract, structure a bad deal. You like, I'm ready to be out.
Yeah.
And you see somebody else getting this type of money, you be like, oh, what is my contract?
Yeah.
But that's so is it so usually like how do contracts work in soccer?
Yeah, I mean, it really just depends on the team and in the league. Just kind of could be multi-year or like with an option, like a club.
Option.
I think the options that I've seen, it's all like the club having an option. But yeah, it just really depends on like the team and the league. Yeah.
Do you have to have an agent?
You don't have to. I know some guys who play and they don't have agents, but they tend to be like older guys who have been in a league like long enough and have a certain amount of contacts like themselves. And but I think especially coming out of college, it's good just to have someone who's kind of speaking on your behalf and you're not doing it all on your own. And I think even some of those players just don't even, you're so new to a league and to an environment that like you just don't know anyone. So it's good to have someone like in your corner backing you.
Right. So so what made you? So do you have to apply for the draft, or do people be looking at you? How does that work?
So I don't know how it works now, but back then it was like teams that were interested would like put your name into the draft, and they kind of came up just like with a draft list of college players. So yeah, I don't know how it works now, but that's.
Did you know like draft projections if you was gonna go like what round and stuff like that?
I had no idea, man. I actually, so that year, I don't know again how they do it now, but that year the first round was all like televised on the website, on the MLS website, and so I actually went back to school. So I was there for the draft with my coaches and with a teammate who was like projected to go pretty high, and so he went like number 2, and that was like videotaped and everything, and so there's like 4 rounds, and the second, third, and fourth round was all just like names popping up on the website, like on a screen. And so I had no idea like when I was going to go or anything, but like I was literally just sitting there with my coaches, just like on the couches, and like a name would go, and then my name was like, hey. But
did they like call you or text you or anything?
So the club reached out after they drafted me. But
After?
yeah.
Not after.
Yeah.
Not at least tell you before, hey, man, we think about taking you in this round,
Yeah, no.
like, or this number. Like, just be on the lookout for it. What do you think about us taking you?
Yeah.
You didn't get that?
No, man. No.
What kind of shit is that?
Yeah. It is.
It's like saying we got some cars on the lot, but this is the one you're gonna take.
Yeah.
This is what we have.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, the MLS draft is a bit different than like other drafts, to where, you know, most players when they get drafted, they're just going in for preseason, and it's not like, unless you're like a top 5 pick, it's you know, not really like a guaranteed contract. And you even look at, you know, years later, like where guys were drafted, I would say a very small percent are even still like with the team that picked them up, or even, I mean, quite frankly, still playing pro soccer. So
yeah.
yeah.
What's the lifespan of being in college? Like not college, but pros.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, it really depends, like position to position. I mean, you have some guys who are playing into their 30s, and I mean even 40s. I mean, as a goalkeeper, I'm a bit fortunate because it's a lot more of a, you know, kind of mental thing, and being able to just like see certain situations, and it's a bit less like taxing on your body, to where you know, there's professional keepers still playing at the highest level in their late 30s, early 40s. So, but that's not like, for field players, it's probably somewhere in your 20s, maybe early 30s. But again, it just kind of depends on positions. Like there's some midfielders who don't like, it's not as physical as maybe like an outside back or something like that. So they can play a bit longer. But I would definitely say goalkeepers tend to have the longest longevity.
is it because of how much wear and tear on their body?
Yeah, I would say that. Or even just like, I mean, if you're getting into your 30s or late 30s, you know, if you're an outside back, you're competing with like 20-year-olds who can just sprint up and down, you know, the sideline all day.
Don't get tired.
Yeah. So, I mean, every position has its own, you know, demands and requirements. So, but yeah, goalkeepers just kind of tend to play a little bit longer. They say it's kind of like wine, man, like a fine wine. You just kind of keep getting better with age, just because you've seen so many situations and so many scenarios, and you're just kind of able to apply that to the future.
Man, that's pretty interesting. Like the traits of it and just going through that. So when you got drafted, you say you was with your coaches?
Yeah. I was actually like on campus.
What did you do when you was drafted?
So no, I mean, we kind of just like had celebrated in the locker room, and my buddy who I was with, who also got drafted, we ended up just like going and getting some food. And I remember we drove back to Charlotte because he was staying with me because he's from England, and he needed somewhere to stay at the time. But no, man, we were just like jamming in the car on the way home. We were both just like super pumped, and yeah, I had a bunch of people reaching out to me, just like really excited for me. So yeah. No, it was a cool moment.
Your name pop up.
Yeah.
Man, that's I'm sure the emotion of that and just feeling that. And what team do you draft to first?
Yeah, so I got drafted to Orlando City in MLS. So, yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, no, it was a good experience. Like I said, you know, when you get drafted in MLS, usually it's just for a trial in preseason. And so I was there for about a month, and I ended up, I mean, thought I did really well. You know, worked really hard, and they ended up telling me, you know, funny enough, they said that like I was better than they thought I was gonna be, but they already had 3 keepers.
You said I already had better. What did you say? They thought you were.
They told me that they thought I was better than like they expected me to be, but they told me that like they already had 3 keepers that they, you know, were pretty high on, and they thought it would be best for me to find a team where there was a good chance to play. So started looking for new teams, and fortunately there was a situation for a second division team in USL in Colorado Springs that I ended up signing and playing there for.
Oh, wow. So what would you say the biggest difference between the first team and the second team?
I would say the second team is a bit more like younger. It's more focused on development, be that, you know, younger like academy type players, or be like first team players that like the club is looking to develop. But yeah, I mean, it's just 2 different things. I would say the first team is more focused on just solely winning games, and you know, they're like the sole focus for the club. But a second team also just depends on what club you're looking at. There are teams in the second division league that are more focused on developing like younger players than other teams. Some teams are focused on just like solely winning. So yeah, it really just depends on the club.
So yeah, okay. So do they have like owners, stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, it's all like tied in with the club, so it's kind of like the same owners as like the first team. But yeah. But there's like separate staff that are like focused on dealing with the second team.
So how usually practice being professional?
Yeah, man. Really just depends on the day, but usually just show up in the morning. Usually there's a time that everyone has to be in by, or else you'll get fined.
Fine.
Yeah, I mean, we got fines. yeah, gotta set standards. But show up, and then usually there's a gap, like maybe like hour and 15 minutes between that and like a team meeting where guys will get warmed up for the day, go into the treatment room, get whatever work they need before training. Usually there's a team meeting before training that depends on the day. If it's coming off a game, maybe we're reviewing some game film from the last game, or if we're approaching a game, it'll be reviewing film from the opponent we're about to play, or even just talking about like what training is going to look like. And then usually we go out and train for, depends again on the day, usually an hour and a half, maybe even a little longer on like longer days. And then sometimes that might be it for the day, but then sometimes we might have like a gym session in the afternoon. So we usually like just get some food or whatever, change into some gym clothes, and then like an hour later come back into the gym, get a little workout in the weight room, and then it just kind of depends on the day.
It don't seem too bad.
Man, it's good.
Especially if that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
I
feel like maybe compared to someone else like who's working a different kind of job, it's less hours, but I feel like it's a lot of time and energy put into those hours. Like you could train for 90 minutes, especially here in the Houston summer, and that could be it for the day, man. If it's an intense session.
Hey, if it's hot like that in Houston,
when you get home, you're chilling.
Yeah,
you're putting the feet up.
Try again next day. Probably get some electrolytes. And hope you don't feel like shit the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty cool, man. In regards to being drafted, going there, the structure of it. So, what would you say? You're looking forward to 2024?
Yeah, man. So I actually just signed for a new team in North Carolina. It's called Carolina Core FC, but it's a brand new team. So just looking to get there and get started and having some success with that team, and doing what I can to help the club, and just have a good year with them. It'll be cool because so the team is in High Point, North Carolina, which is only like,
is that the major city here?
No, I'd say like Charlotte and Raleigh are probably like the biggest cities, but High Point is like 30 minutes from where Wake is. So like Winston-Salem, High Point, and Greensboro kind of make up the triad area of North Carolina. So it'll be cool for me just to be close to, it's like an hour and a half north of Charlotte, so close to my family there, and then even like 30 minutes from where I went to school at Wake. So and there's also a great like soccer base following in that area, so it'll be really cool to have a professional soccer team there for the first time.
So pretty much staying in your same ecosystem, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big proponent of getting out and living in new places and having new experiences, but the opportunity came up to go to this new team, and I think it's going to be a really great situation, a really good team. So but then also, on top of that, going closer to home, I think will be really cool.
Right. How many usually goalkeepers they usually like to keep on the team?
Yeah, it depends from team to team, but usually like 3 or 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
I'll say about 3. 3 is good, unless you got the first one hurt.
Yeah.
And you probably need to hire another one.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool, man. Like it's pretty simple, like how the pros work a little bit.
Yeah.
Just I think, football is more people more look at that because I feel like it's a violent sport. So people love violence. It's just like usually if it's violence, if it's entertaining, people hook to it.
Yeah.
just like on the news, man, when they say a white cop killed a black cop or a black cop killed a white. So that's gonna be on the headlines. But I used to work in law enforcement. What I tell people is, it's so many things that happen in Houston, Texas. Like they got HPD, Harris County Sheriff Department, University of Downtown Police Department, Pasadena Police Department, Pearland Police Department, Precinct 4, School ISD. So when you look at all these departments, how they pick and choose, like how can they put all this stuff on the news? They only have a small section for it, so it's like if it bleeds, it leads. So it got to be something interesting that's gonna hook people.
Yeah.
If it ain't really interesting, it's like, what's the point, right?
No.
So that's pretty cool about that, man. So what would you say been some challenging things you had to deal with in your professional career?
Yeah, no, there's definitely been a lot of ups and downs. Kind of like we talked about. I think just like there was a lot of things I didn't know about playing professional soccer, and just especially kind of the business side of it, and having to take care of things off the field. But yeah, I mean, I think mentally. So the first team I played for, I played 2 games that year. Last year, my second season as a pro, my first year in Houston, I played 6 games, and this year I played 7 games out of like a 20-something game season. So all 3 years I haven't been like the main starting keeper. So I think mentally, just like on a week-to-week basis, just being ready to play even when you know that like you may not be playing that weekend or So I'd say just always being ready. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that anything can really happen at any moment, and just that power of being ready, because they talk about it's like if you don't, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's like you don't have to get ready if you stay ready, right? So
it's like kind of like being ready so you don't have to get ready.
Exactly, yeah. So I feel like
I was thinking about that when you was talking about it.
Yeah. So I feel like for me, just trying to figure out my own, habits, routines that help me get into a state that is ready to play on the weekend, and being able just to do that week in and week out, regardless of if I am playing. So I'd say that's probably been one of the biggest challenges of just kind of, playing that backup role and just kind of being ready to play at a moment's notice. Because I would say a lot of the games that I've played the past 2 years have been kind of like last minute, where something happened and they're like, oh yeah, like you're starting tomorrow. And some of the games have been pretty big games for us in the season. So just being able to physically be ready, but also mentally, emotionally be ready for those moments too, I think is crucial. And I would say just even as a goalkeeper, man, that's probably one of the biggest struggles, because you'll probably, at some point in your career, go through a stage where you're not a starter. And it really comes down to just those moments of like when you do get an opportunity, what you do with it. And then, the whole future depends on that. So, yeah, man, I'm a big proponent of just staying ready, because you never know what's just like right around the corner.
I'm big on habits and routines.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, we're defined by habits and routines. And like I always tell people, anybody in general, to get what you want in life is deep inside your habits and routine. So you may have to change something that you're doing in your habits and routines to get to the next level. So obviously, what you're doing now, it's not going to achieve the same. It's just like, for example, you lost 10 pounds. Like what you did to lose that first 10 pounds, you can't do that. You can do it to a certain degree, but if you're trying to lose another 10 pounds, you got to change that up, because your body getting used to it.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I'm big on like scaling. Like, so next level, you got to scale to this. You got to change the scale to this. So it almost like it never, it never ends.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep working.
Yeah.
Just like, for example, if you want a big contract, you're gonna have to show some type of numbers, and basically showing those numbers, you're gonna have to change some of your performance, your attitude, or how you approach the game if you want a bigger contract.
Yeah.
So it's like everything calls on some different you have to do.
Yeah. One quote I've heard recently, it's like, if nothing changes, nothing changes. It's funny, like sometimes we think that like just the nature of time, like, oh, like, well, this will just be better in a couple months. It's like, man, if you don't consciously do something about it, like nothing's ever gonna change. So
it's pretty much like these New Year's Eve resolution folks.
Yeah.
Like they do this every year.
Yeah.
They say, I'm gonna start in January, and it's like, and I've been doing this since 2018 officially. And one thing I do know, after looking at that data, most people, it's hard for them to commit to going to work every day. If they can't get to work on time, what makes you think they're finna add all these positive habits to do that. Only reason why I go to work because they have bills to pay.
Yeah.
Other than that, if they didn't really have like obligated to like real bills, I would think most people they probably would cancel or wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
It's like when you look at that, when you're trying to get people to show up for something else, they can't show up for work on time or like show up for work like that.
Yeah.
So, but you ask them to do something outside of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not reality.
Yeah, I've heard some like motivational speakers that I like to listen to, and they talk about a lot of those like New Year's changes. It's like, man, if you really want to change something in your life, like do something now, like because you can do something now in your life that'll get you closer to what you're looking for. There's no reason to wait until, and I think that New Year's is a decent time where things have slowed down a bit, and you can kind of reflect on your year and decide what you're looking for the next year. But like you said, I feel like too many people they said it and then kind of forget about it a week or two in. But it's just like, man, you have full control in your life right now to make a change and to get yourself on a different path. But it all kind of comes down to just like making a decision.
Everything comes down to decision.
Yeah.
Like make a decision and you have to commit to it.
Yeah.
And I'm big on that. Commit to it. You got to focus. It's just like saying, like, start next year. You should start planning that either in November or the beginning of December. Because sometimes the holidays go so fast. You're moving around, seeing family, and next thing you know, it's over. So I'm big on like planning like each quarter of the year out as much as possible. It's probably not gonna go as planned. Some things probably float over, but at least you have like something to follow. I just like your schedules for your games or practice. What is coaches be like? Hey, we're gonna go out there and practice. So what we doing? Practice, kick some balls around.
Yeah.
When they're kind of like, well, what's the goal for practice? Are we preparing? No, we just gonna practice.
Yeah.
Are we gonna watch film? No, we're gonna go out there and practice.
Yeah. There's a quote that I really like that kind of goes off that. I think it was from like Eisenhower, like General Eisenhower, but he said like a plan is nothing, but planning is everything.
It is.
Basically, he's saying that like you said, things can change, right? To where your plan may be in the garbage at some point where, all these external circumstances have changed. But I think he was trying to say more that like the time that you put in to plan and to anticipate and think ahead, that's the most essential thing from planning, right? Being able to think ahead and kind of strategize as opposed to being just committed to a rigid plan that, obviously life happens, things change.
Oh, yeah. I just like, for example, he's going to be traded or you had to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yeah.
Like now you're packing stuff up and now you got to leave within
a
week. So as like the nature of the business or like when I see players get traded overnight, they get traded at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And they're like, well, I guess I'm going to Charlotte. Something like that.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, it's kind of hard to get attached to not attached to the game, but to a team or to like the players because you could be traded or anything could happen.
Yeah, man. Just got to ride the wave.
It's such a big business behind it.
Yeah.
So what would you say or is the difference or there is a difference between like college and the pros?
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like kind of a couple things we touched upon. Just kind of in the professional side, I didn't really realize coming out of college just how much of a business it really is. Like, I feel like in college, I might have, or me or, some other guys might have gotten opportunities to play just because we were good people or, like our coach liked us or whatever. But as a pro, man, it's like, can you do the job or not? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you keep the ball out of the net? Can you? And,
it's pretty much black and white like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to use the word like cutthroat because that sounds kind of just like, it's not like that deep. But it's just like, as a pro, man, it really is just about like, can you do the job
that you're getting paid to do?
Exactly, man. Yeah. But, I think a big lesson too that I have learned as a pro, when I was in college, I only competed against like 3 or 4 other keepers in my whole time in college. And as a pro, I've competed against at least like 10 or 20 guys just on the teams that I've been on. But now it's like in college, I wish I would have had the perspective of just like a bigger perspective because I would compare myself to the guys that I was competing against, right? But it's like there are so many other goalkeepers out there, right? And I wish I would have had like a higher standard to compare myself to because now as a pro, it's like you're competing against all the guys of the world,
right.
So I wish kind of had I had that higher standard for myself to where like the guy who was starting over me in college, he was really good with his feet, like kicking and distribution, and that was kind of a weak point of mine. And so I solely focused on just getting better at that and just being like a little bit better than him. But again, like didn't really have the awareness at the time to realize that like I need to be comparing myself to already pros, because it's like if I'm only comparing myself to him, there's so many other guys out there. Yeah, and then even I would say with the competition piece, it's funny because it's like I talk about other people, but just a quick story. My freshman year, I played one game, and I remember that guy who was playing ahead of me. So I'd been there, like I said, I graduated early from high school. I was there all spring, got there in the fall. I hadn't played like in our first 10 games or something like that. And I never really faced any like solid competition in the past. I had always been kind of the guy growing up at my team. And so when I saw this guy who was like better than me at the time, I was just so focused on him and like, oh man, like I wish this guy wasn't here. And like, if he wasn't here, I'd be the starter, I'd be the man, all these things. And I got that opportunity my freshman year, my very first game. And I remember standing there out there on the field in that game and realizing like he had nothing to do with me in that moment. All that mattered was everything that I had been through and all the preparation that I had put in and executing in that moment, right? So I think sometimes when we think about competition, obviously, yes, as a professional, you're competing against other people, but you have to realize that at the end of the day, the real competition is, being ready to play and being ready to execute for your team in the moment when you're called upon, right? Because if I'm marginally better than the other keepers on my team and, I get the start on the weekend, but I can't perform well and I can't do the job for my team, then, it's all for nothing, right?
Right.
So yes, there is competition. Yes, you're competing against other people, but I hate when people say, I'm just competing against myself, because it's kind of naive. Like, yeah, there's other people out there, but there is some truth of like, when I am on the field, like I'm alone in that moment, right? There's no other keepers. Like how everyone else trained that week has nothing to do with me. And it all comes down to just my preparation and, how ready I am to help my team win.
Right. Pretty much setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very important, because you got to plan, you got to work out. So how usually the workouts are playing the pros? Like how's the week? Let's just say you just finished with the game on Saturday, and then you're getting ready for your opponent for next Saturday. Like how is that week like?
Mm-hmm.
Until the next game.
Yeah, I mean it depends from team to team. Like different teams have different philosophies of how they'll structure a week. The way that we've done it, so say Saturday game, usually we'll have like Sunday off. So usually like Sunday off, we'll train like Monday, Tuesday, usually have like Wednesday off, and then train like Thursday, Friday, leading into the game Saturday. But yeah, usually that Monday and Tuesday. So the Monday is usually kind of more of a recovery day just because of the game. Tuesday is a bit of a higher kind of volume work type day. Wednesday is usually off just to kind of have a break in the week and just kind of giving, some mental rest for the game on the weekend. And then the Thursday and the Friday are usually preparation just for that game on the weekend. A lot of more tactical, focusing on specifics of like what the other team presents and getting ready for that game. So,
man, it's a lot of preparation between here and there. So how do you? So I guess when you just focus on like one job, how do you manage your time like outside of that?
Yeah, man, I'm like we kind of touched upon. I'm pretty big in planning and spending at least a couple hours on a Sunday just sitting down and thinking about what I want to accomplish for the week and what my 7 days times 24 hours is going to look like. So I'm a big believer in just that planning process and planning out my time, be it what my training with the team looks like, my own individual training, things I want to get done at home, just personal development type stuff, just blocking out time just for my own reading and just like recovery stuff. And I do my own like coaching and stuff as well, soccer coaching. So but I think that all comes down from like we talked about, the planning and preparation, because I think if you're trying to make all those decisions when the time comes, just on the day of like, oh shoot, I'm gonna go read right now, or I'm gonna try to, it's like, man, you're already like a little too late. Just to have the perspective on a Sunday, on a day off when things are a little slower, and kind of giving yourself that whole week of like being able, because you can fit in things better into the week when you are planning and thinking ahead and realizing, okay, yeah, Thursday I'm gonna have a little less at training, so maybe I'll add in my coaching that day. Because again, yeah, if you're trying to all do it in the moment, man, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, there's no way you can do that in the moment when teams are preparing like weeks ahead.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden y'all just preparing now.
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
Yeah.
So how is usually the workout? Do y'all have a strength and conditioning coach? Like how does usually work out?
Yeah, so our team has a specific strength and conditioning coach, but yeah, it depends again like on the week and what our schedule looks like. I think with this team typically we've had like 2 gym workouts during the week. So usually we would be off on the Sunday. Monday's more recovery type day. Tuesday is kind of the heavier day on the field, and that's probably like heavier day in the gym. Also with the day off on Wednesday to kind of rest, and then usually that Thursday is another like gym type day, and then Friday, day before game, you usually don't
walkthroughs.
Not, I mean, a little bit, but yeah, just it's more of a shorter session, and I think they don't want us doing too much in the gym and stuff before
a game.
Before a game, yeah.
Yeah, because get hurt, muscles be tight. And you probably do like not go so hard for a game. You don't mess up anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, they're usually pretty short sessions, only like 45, 50 minutes. And yeah, even half of that is more walkthrough type, just kind of painting certain pictures. Yeah.
So how is your eating habits?
Yeah. No, it's definitely gotten better throughout the years. Man,
you have to.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a guy today, a new client of mine's about because he want to perform up here, but you know his nutritional habits are like shit. Yeah. So I was telling him today, I said, look here, man, I get it, you're 16, but if you can adapt this earlier, you can surpass a good amount of athletes around your age. I say your food is so important, that's your fuel, and so you like to dumb it down to people. I say think about your car, think about having you put orange juice, wine, soda, and you mainly supposed to be putting gasoline in there. So what happens if when you add those other chemicals in there and you're trying to get the max capacity out of your car? It's not going to work.
Yeah, man.
Same thing with your body. Yeah. Your body's made up of 65 to 70% of water. Yeah. And you putting all this in here and you have less than 65% of water in your body. There's no supplement, no medication. There's nothing you can do to improve that. Because your eyes made of water, you got blood in there, water in there, and it's nowhere around it. So when I hear people say that they don't like drink water, I think that's very ignorant. I don't care what nobody says. Your body, it'd be different if your body was made of 65% water, and you say you don't drink water. Well, you want problems. And so when people tell me that, it makes it hard for me to rationalize with people unless water, you're allergic to water, or unless water makes you break out in hives. But for you to say you don't drink water, that's just asking for problems on top of problems throughout your lifetime. So and I see that with a lot of people that don't train with me, but just in general, they always have to have a flavor with their water. But the thing is, I hate to say it, but they're just normal Americans. They're just I just like athletes. They don't hydrate. Think about if y'all don't hydrate. Y'all don't put electrolytes in your body. Y'all don't drink water. Think about how y'all gonna perform.
Can't train, man. Pass out in this heat, man.
Oh, no man. Chance. Yeah. But it's just regular lifestyle. But also, man, like, how do you manage your stress? Like, especially like being traded, going through these times, moving.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I feel like that's definitely something I've had to learn a lot about as a pro. But I would say just having different kind of habits, systems, even, support structures for stress. I think one of the biggest things for me is just having things outside of soccer to kind of rely on, because I think especially as a pro where, in college you train, but then you also go to class. So your mind might be off of that, a couple hours of the day. But as a pro, it's like your only obligation really is just training. So it's like you could go train and have a horrible session, and then you just come home and you just sit the rest of the day and just you're thinking about it. And I think the quicker that you can, learn from mistakes, and if it was a bad session and just kind of moving on, I think is the best thing. But I think you can do that through having outside things and not just solely doing that. So for me, I think I do like a bit of coaching. So just being outside and helping some kids and the youth a little bit more, learn more about the game, about the position. I think that's been a really good way for me. I've got a lot of great people in my life, family, friends that I love to keep in contact with. And even in maybe some of those emotional type moments when things might be going not so well, like just knowing that like, hey, these people are there for a reason, and like being willing to reach out to them and be open. And it's funny. I remember when I first got to college, I remember I remember when I first got to college, I didn't want to like call my parents at all because I thought it was like weird, like, oh, I'm on my own now. And I'd go like weeks without like talking to my parents, or like a week or two, or like like a week. And I'd be like, man, like I just like feel bad. But now it's like I talk to my parents like every single day. But it's just like I enjoy catching up with them and seeing what's going on. But it's funny
because you got older and wiser.
Yeah. I just remember like in college, I was like, oh man, that's not cool. Like I think that's a great like support system. But I think just having people that you can rely on and talk to, but even like I said, having certain habits. I mean, I'm pretty big into like meditation and like breath work, and just kind of being able to calm your body, calm your mind, and kind of see that a lot of that stress, I think, comes from like stories we tell ourselves in our head about the future and what could be happening. And I think so much of that kind of dies away when you kind of just like put all that to the side and just kind of focus on what's going on right now, because the present is all we truly have. So
That's it.
Yeah. So I'd say those are probably some of the biggest ways for me.
Okay. Man, that's pretty interesting. Like, because the reason why I asked that, because that's a part of being a healthy lifestyle, like fitness, nutrition, and stress. Stress is one of the leading killer. People say it's smoking, and drinking, or something else, cancer. But stress triggers you to drink. Mm-hmm. Stress triggers you to smoke. Yeah. Stress triggers like anti-inflammatory things that happen in your body. Think about, if you be stressed out so much, you could kill yourself, or you could like stress your body out overly, and it cause all type of issues. Because when you think about it, things develop. I guess sometimes things happen in regards to like genetics, but for the most part, most things are from lifestyle. When you think about it.
Yeah, no, I think you make a good point. I think like obviously in life we're all gonna have stress at some point.
Well,
In our personal lives or work.
You can't avoid it.
Yeah, and you need certain coping mechanisms, right? And
Healthy
some of those are gonna help you move in a positive direction, when you deal with that stress, or like you mentioned a couple of them. Yeah, like you lean on those, it's like things are only gonna get worse. So I think knowing in advance that stress is gonna come, and having these kind of systems and habits already in place, kind of, so when it does hit, you're not scrambling in the moment trying to
figure it out, like what the hell I'm gonna do, like what I'm gonna do with this stress situation, like I'm just gonna eat up everything. But it's just more about awareness. And I feel like playing sports definitely does help with what's going on, because you go through a lot of adversity, and your parents, they can just support you. They can't go out there and play the game for you. So that's why I say sports is really a pivotal thing. Like I feel like everybody should do, like with these once out their life, so they can understand. Because other than that, you lean on your parents to teach you something. What if you got like shitty parents? Now you learn this stuff as you get older. And it really sucked in, because while everybody learned this trait, you just now figuring it out about why I need to be focused, disciplined, and persistent and stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
And it's definitely like a pivotal. But as we come to a close, man, what are some things that you could share to the listeners about somebody else that want to become a professional soccer player? Like what could you share?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been some really good stuff we've touched upon, but man, I'd say the biggest thing for me is just starting with like why do you do it, and having a very strong passion and foundation for what you do, because like we just talked about, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be stress, there's going to be low moments. That's life, that's sports, that's soccer. So I think just like your why carries you through, though. So I think I'm playing a lot, for me, like just for that little kid that had a dream that was 7 years old, 8 years old. And, I'm still that kid at heart. And through the tough times and the hard moments, man, I think, just that dream and that passion just like carries me through it all. So I think figuring out, why you're playing the sport that you're playing, and getting pretty clear on, why you love it, and what you're doing it for. And I'd say that's, that's the key. And I'd also say, like you talked about, nothing happens without discipline, right? You're going to have to go through some practices that are difficult, where it's going to be rainy, it's going to be cold. And I'm a big fan of motivation. I love listening to motivational speeches or, music or things that kind of get me more in a state that I want to do hard things. But at the end of the day, that stuff's not always going to be there. And I think just having that willingness to know that, hey, I'm going to have to push through some tough moments. I'm going to have to do some hard things. I'm going to have to do some things that I don't want to do. But it's just like, if you really want what you say you want, you want to achieve at the highest levels or, be the best or all these, it's like, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to push through hard moments. You're going to have to work out when you don't want to work out.
Oh, man.
All those things. So I think if you can balance those two, though, of being in a place of playing out of passion and dreaming and like abundance and all that, but then also being able to do the hard work, the gritty work, all that. I think those two, man, together, if you can really tap into both, man, you'd be unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. Being that small percentage. So last question, what does a healthy, vibrant life mean to you?
Yeah, man, I think it means a lot of things.
To you.
Yeah, no, that's to me. Actually, I might steal this from a book that I've read, but I kind of take it on. I feel like it embodies that. So the book's called The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco. It's actually like great entrepreneurship book, but basically he talks about, before he even talks about like the strategies of, making money or whatever, he basically defines like what is wealth. Cause I think, again, to a lot of different people, wealth can be different things. But he talks about, it was like the three F's. It was like the trilogy of F's. And basically he defined it as, it was like family, fitness, and freedom. To where it's like family, I think that you've seen a lot of rich people or famous people who have made all this money and accomplished all this stuff, but they haven't had people in their life to celebrate it with or enjoy it with, and they're miserable. So I think, and especially like as humans, we're social creatures, and we're built to interact with each other. Another quote I came across, it's like, no man is an island, right? We're all interconnected. We're all dependent on each other. So I think kind of also like how we had talked about having that network of friends, family, good people in your life. I think that is a strong aspect of a vibrant life. Fitness, obviously, like we talked about, we only get one body. Like this is our only mechanism of interacting with this world. And I think, if someone told you that they were going to give you a brand new car, but that's the only car you could drive for the rest of your life, you would treat that car pretty well. You'd do all the oil changes, all the maintenance. You'd be vacuuming it all the time. So I think taking care of our bodies, eating well, doing the meditation, the mental side, all of that. I think, fitness is a huge part of that. And then even like freedom, man, I think, having money, making money is important, but then even doing that in a way that is connected to kind of like we talked about before, just like doing something that you love and doing something that you feel is purposeful and in a way that like you're helping others and serving others. So, man, so I think, the freedom of making money and being in a job or career that you really love, having, strong body, strong mind, the fitness aspect, and then family, just having a good group of people in your life, and be it actual family or very close friends or whatever it is. I think those three together for me are a vibrant life.
Yeah, that's pretty deep, man. But it was pretty much what we covered throughout the podcast. Is you just have to have that. It's a big collaboration of everything mixed in one, like all these different ingredients that makes a quality life. You can't just. You can make a lot of money, but what if you're not in good health?
Yeah.
You can't enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. It's just a lot that goes into like life, and you always have to keep working on yourself each day, not pouring into yourself and just learning and gaining and trying to keep some of the bullshit out your life.
Yeah. Hey, man, talking about being a professional athlete, that's all it is, man. It's every day. Your last game, you had a great game. You show up to practice on Monday, doesn't matter. You got to show up for next weekend. You had a bad game on the weekend?
Oh, man.
Doesn't matter. You got to show up again. Yeah, you got another game, man. So I think, just sports, life, taking it day by day, winning the day, making the most of every day, and just like you said too, just enjoying it. You know, it's
Right.
it's a grind, it's work, but you know, just loving every day. It's a blessing, man. Every day
Right.
to wake up. So
Right. You know, I gotta let you try one of the collagens out,
Yeah,
man. Sponsored by the collagen. So,
sir.
which flavor you want to check out? The strawberry
got?
lemonade or the peach mango? Which one are you?
ooh, strawberry and lemonade. That sounds good to me.
All right. Ask me water, man. So usually I have people that love strawberry lemonade.
Yeah.
Got peach mango people. And do you take any supplements?
Yeah. I take like a fish oil, like omega-3 daily,
Okay.
and then magnesium supplement. I take that at night before I go to bed.
Help you
man,
sleep?
Yeah, it helps me sleep. But man, if you want to have some crazy dreams at night,
Not crazy dreams.
yeah, man, I'm telling you, when I take that magnesium,
Got some OnlyFans dreams over there.
that's you, bro. Yeah.
That's funny. I don't know how much I'm trying to dream, but
Yeah, no, it's a good. Trust me, magnesium as a sleep,
I know magnesium is a good supplement, but
Let's mix it up.
Yeah, shake it. Yeah. But other than that, I have a good sleeping routine because sleeping is a part of daily wellness too. Because you probably shake it up some more.
Yeah.
Shake it up pretty harder. But yeah, I'm big on putting your mind at rest
100%.
because you want to put it. Because the thing is, it's like a transition. Some people can go, they lay down, they go straight to sleep.
Yeah.
I ain't one of them.
Yeah,
type people.
no.
So it has vitamin E in there, D3, B3, hyaluronic acid, hydrolyzed fish collagen, bamboo extract. So some good ingredients for your hair, nails, and skin, and also skin elasticity. And also has some things in there for your immune system.
Yeah. Tastes good too.
Tastes good too. It
Yeah.
does?
I'm digging it.
And then the reason why it's that color because I took out the artificial color.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause you don't need all that
Yeah, that's
stuff in
funny,
that.
man. You look at like a orange Gatorade, and it's like when you think about it, it doesn't need to be orange. They just put that flavors in there and the color to make people think, oh yeah, it's orange.
Yeah, it's a marketing tactic,
Yeah.
but I'm big on like health, so I try to take out as much of the bad stuff in there without at least make it taste good. 'Cause I did try the all natural, and it just tastes like just tar. So I do have a little bit of so there's no fructose or sucrose in there. It's just some artificial flavoring in there, just a little bit. But if that's what the people gonna ding me on, but if I didn't have that in there, it would taste tar, like a strawberry, like lemon. You be like, what is it?
Yeah.
Like it'd be healthy, but
Yeah.
it tastes like shit.
Yeah, you got to meet people in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, man. But when people still try to ding me, I'm like, well, you drinking stuff that got all this natural color stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's like, but you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just- but yeah, man, what can they find you? So what's your what's the name of your new team you going to?
Yeah, it's called Carolina Core FC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at A Pannenberg, APANNENBERG, and then I've actually got my own YouTube channel. Just no, it's called Invincible Goalkeeping, and basically, it's just it's me documenting my journey, just daily life, advice that I wish I knew as a young goalkeeper, and some of the things like we've talked about today, and even just some of my like training sessions and all that. So just getting started, but I got some good stuff coming. So
When does the season start?
yeah, so we start like mid-March is when the like games start, but we start preseason like end of January. So
Oh wow, so it's coming up.
yeah, man, coming up.
That's why you're shipping out of here, huh?
Yeah, you got to give back.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll put everything in the show notes where you can find Andrew and also his new team, and give him a shout if you're in the area. Peace out.